Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this week's edition of Hospitality Digital Marketing. I am your host. I'm one of the hosts, I should say. I shouldn't be the only host. I'm the host. We are going to go over and change the hosting probably at the end of the year to Hospitality Digital Marketing Twitter handle. So that it's just not my Twitter handle pushing this out. So we'll keep reminding people of that as the weeks go on. We are keeping this consistent every week, 12:30 Central. On Wednesdays, 1:30 Eastern, 10:30 on Pacific time. We're getting a good subscription following slowly. Whether we get them to participate or not is always an issue of timing. So any feedback from anybody that is joining us, if there is a better time that you feel that you can be more persistent in being able to join us, then that's a good thing. Anyway, let's make sure we're posting out that we're here as well. Okay, so some topics that we were thinking about, or I had thought about, and of course we can always change those. Oh, Tuck's there. Mr. Tucker. Topics. Hey, Tucker.
Hi.
Oh, I'm hearing you. Which way am I hearing you? Oh, from the back. All right. I'm hearing myself talk, but I'm hearing you in the background. All right. I threw around some potential topic ideas. One was Facebook's new announcement on their logo function, which is for multi-unit owners, the ability to focus in on people within the immediate area of a business. The other is I came across a really interesting article that if we have time we can pop into, which is talking more about the usage and the value of dark social, what it is and what can be done with. Then there's Pinterest made the announcement that they're launching in-pin searches, which is kind of interesting for buy now functionality. Of course, then there's a cool tool that Google just announced, not so much directly for hospitality, but it's an easy idea to think that they're going to move it into hospitality, and that is their Think Google Retail, which basically they're tracking 16,000 metro centers within the domestic U.S. And 5,000 retail products as to the search histories, kind of like Google Trends, only on a much greater visual fusion table kind of thing. The other
when you talk like this,
really
it sounds really sciencey.
Oh,
it sounds what?
Oh, it sounds sciencey too.
Sciencey?
I'm
echoing.
You are echoing. Hold on here.
Bill Nye, the science guy.
Let me change my microphone settings and see if that might help for it.
As far as topics, it's been a very Star Wars heavy week. So do we want to start with Dark Social?
Should I play the Star Wars theme? Dun, 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 dun. Okay, let's start with Dark Social. I thought it was going to be a minor topic, but we certainly talked about it as first lead thing. Dark Social. Tucker, what do you think?
Basically stuff that can't be measured. You have Google Analytics, you have everything we use for reporting, like Falcon, Sendable, Sprout. But outside of that, what are we sharing that can't be measured, and how do we quantify the hours that we put into this? And I keep hearing myself talk, and this is weird.
Yeah, I'm going to go over and kick over the audio here in just a second. Sorry about that. Let's see if I can make my speakers go differently. The microphone. There. Maybe that should help. There we go. Better?
Does that work?
Yeah.
Does that work?
Yep, we're good. I'm not hearing any echo anymore.
Okay, what about now?
I'm hearing you.
I'm hearing myself 8 times. Hold on, I'm going to call out and then call.
All right, let's try this again. I'm going to use the Yeti and have you come back in. Sorry for the technical details, folks, since we're recording this.
Okay. I think that worked. Kind of.
No, yeah. Got a little echo still. Weird.
I'm hearing your speakers coming back.
How's that? Try again.
Is it better?
No. Okay, everything's on my microphone here. Look, my Yeti.
Oh, my goodness.
And yeah, I know. All right, all right, I'm going to plug the Yeti and plug in my headset. Hold on. Better or worse?
Hello?
Not me. That is definitely not going to be me.
Yeah, I'm all alone in a room. I don't know.
Do you got
I'm
a
sorry.
an earbud?
Yeah, and like I was plugging in the earbuds, and I thought that might be helpful, but
Give it a shot and see if that might help. Try it again.
hello.
Where the hell's the echo coming from?
Oh my goodness.
All right, hold on. Let me just see what's going on with my rest of my world here. Microphone port. Yeah, okay. All right. You can hear me. I can hear you. So I'm going to mute when you talk. How's that?
Sounds good.
Oh, you're fine. Oh, Mr. Robert Cole's joining us too. All right. Let's go back to Dark Media, Social.
Hi.
Hey, Robert.
Hey, how are you doing?
Well, we got an audio issue that we solved. We don't know why we had an audio issue, but I just unplugged everything and it seemed to possibly
Because
help.
technology hates me.
I had a heck of a time finding you guys for some reason. I don't know. I was going to blab.im/Lauren Gray, and it did not show that you were broadcasting.
Damn it. I've turned unpopular all of a sudden.
Oh no.
All of a sudden. I'm still unpopular. It just hasn't changed. All right.
I mean, that's none of my business.
Okay. Mr. Robert Cole, to get you up to speed since we burned time on technology, I had thrown out some suggested topics, and the one we just thought we'd grab onto right now is dark social.
Yes, I thought that was interesting since I don't know the term, but we'll see what you have to say about it.
Well, Mr. Tucker, I'll stop interrupting now that he's stopped echoing and let him continue on with his wonderful dialogue of dark social and what is it and how to use it.
Really, the only reason I wanted to talk about Dark Social is because it reminded me of the Dark Side and Star Wars. But like that's a topic of discussion.
And that Japanese trailer was awesome.
Oh, wasn't it?
Okay,
I do
everything
not
that's been
use
released this
that,
week is
and I
awesome.
do not use that term lightly.
Yeah.
So
Go
yeah,
ahead.
as far as Dark Social goes, it's basically, the content that we're sharing and that we're posting and that is getting out to our followers that we can't quantify. We can't quantify through Google Analytics. We can't quantify it through any sort of measurement system. There's so many out there. There's Hootsuite, there's Falcon, there's Sendable, there's Sprout. There's so many social tracking. There's so many social tracking platforms, so many graphs that you can show. But at the end of the day, there is stuff that you can't track. There is stuff that you can't, put a number to. So you have to be able to decide, okay, when we see, we're getting this on Facebook or we're getting this on Twitter, or how much is a follower worth to us? How much is a page like worth to us? So that's something where it takes human intervention into social. As at the end of the day, as much as we want to automate the process of social, it will never be fully automated because we still need human intervention for things like this, such as dark social, because we have to know how much, is this one occurrence, how much is this particular event worth to my client, worth to my business, worth to my revenue, and things like that.
I'd also toss into the fact that other aspects of dark social is also the application usages, because you don't know the activity on a private app to know whether or not you're engaging them outside of what influenced them. So even app usage can be considered dark social in the sense of its measurability of it all. Would that lend itself then, do you think, that measuring the source of the traffic would be the only indicator of the dark social value? Like if you gave a direct link that was shared via email, or you had a link that somebody came from, would there be a way of measuring that as an indication that it came from a dark social source?
I mean, maybe not even just like the source. If you could track behaviors on it, like how far into the email did somebody read? How long were they reading it, and things like that. If that ever becomes a way that we can track it, then I think we can really start to put numbers behind this and really see that our audience is engaging and put more value and more resources into it.
Right. So you can do some things in terms of some tagging if you have links and things like that, if they're clicking on it. But again, if they're just kind of scanning it and reading it, yeah, it's tough. It's interesting, the whole attribution issue, because there's a thing going back and forth on T-News yesterday just about, I think Kevin May posted an article that just said, hey, look at how much traffic TripAdvisor has in terms of just the US, UK, and Australia, right? And it's a huge number. And people are going back and forth going, oh, well, that isn't, the numbers aren't accurate, so leave them alone. And it's like, well, okay, yeah, you look on SimilarWeb, it's number A. I think he got his numbers through Experian or something like that, you go, that's B. But you go, wait, if these are all measured the same, you start looking at the general thing. But one of the points was made was, well, that doesn't include any app truth. What about all the people on their Androids and their iPhones who are popping straight into the TripAdvisor app? I mean, TripAdvisor knows, nobody else, right? So, yeah, it's the whole thing. The only thing that I've suggested to people is to just tag the hell out of their content, right? So they can see where is this stuff being clicked from in terms of the campaign track. And it's still staggering in the hotel industry how many groups don't do that. It's just like, yeah, there's the link, and it's, and it's Twitter, or or they have no idea if it came from Twitter or Facebook. They just know somebody clicked on the link.
Well, we know that email platforms are getting a little bit more intelligent when it comes to the ability of shareability, tracking shareability from emails. We of course can't track the texting or the direct messaging that's going on, but I'm wondering whether then there's software like Spring Metrics that you can use that can track engagement on your site when they leave your site for what you give them as incentives. You have Flip2, which is ones that if you share it, you can track who shared it to start with. So there is some measurability, at least of where it's going, and maybe a little bit of when it comes back as to whether or not you can give it attribution modeling. But overall, I think DeAndre made the good point. It's still not quantifiable. You're still having to make value assessments of saying, okay, this came out of nowhere. Why did it come here and what drove it? And you can maybe only quantify by the message that brought it there. Why were they inquiring about something in particular? Well, that's a message you gave elsewhere that got shared. So, some of the other fun stuff, Robert, that we had popped up.
Actually, just one last thing on the email side. I use a little. You guys familiar with HubSpot's? What is it called? Sidekick.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Great little tool. I've been using it for months, and it really helps. Maybe more on a B2B aspect than B2C, but I can send an email to Lauren, see that he opened it, and then when he goes, "Oh no, I haven't gotten your email yet," it's like,
You lie.
Well, the other part too, we talked about this internally. You tend to discount the fact that LinkedIn has a pixel, so you can put it into your GTM shell or on your site, obviously, and track, and it'll give you the unique ID of the person that passed through on that page, which is kind of scary. It's like Twitter's business, where you can use their handle and measure to them directly. But anyway, some other stuff.
And so on the other hand,
go ahead.
So, on the other hand, that LinkedIn pixel, you can use that to find qualified brand ambassadors.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely. Laura pointed out Yesware is also good for email tracking, and that's true too. Yesware is another one that's out there that will track follow-throughs on emails and whether people opened or whether it got disappeared or not. So, other things we popped up was Facebook's new local function for multi-unit owners was a potential topic. Google's new retail tool for Think Google, which they're introducing as an enhancement to Google Trends, where you can track 5,000 retail pieces geographically in the domestic U.S. as to their search histories. Another one, just a neat article that popped up was clever uses of reverse image search. I think it's a really underutilized tool in some senses to find out where some of these shared image contents are coming from. A little touch on maybe RankBrain, the new AI that's been announced that's been in use for a few months. Well, any feedbacks on it? And of course, the one that I thought would just be a fun topic to chatter about is Mr. Del Ross's prediction that in less than 18 months, most all hotels will have inventory on Airbnb. So that's what I threw around as possible topic choices. We can talk about anything, but those are some of them. So, we have somebody that we have not had on before. Nabel, I'm sorry if I mispronounced it. Let's have you join, and you can tell us your name. Hold on.
Benjamin.
Benjamin. Yeah, I'm going to ask him. There we are. Nabel, how are you, sir? Good. How do you say your name? Whoop, we lost you. He was here, then he's gone.
He's gone.
Just like and he was in New York too.
Live. Some of these guys are
just
shy.
A moment. All right. All right. We're going to try this again. Here we go.
Hi.
Hello. How do you say your name, sir?
My name is Ba.
Ba?
Yes, Nabil.
Nabil. Okay. Ba. How are you today?
Good.
Good. Would you like to join our conversation on hospitality digital marketing?
How it works, this thing?
Which works?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Well, you're now with us.
You've got people, yeah, from all over the place. So.
Yep. Do you want to join the topic, or are you just trying out Blab?
No, this is actually this is not my mobile.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Oh.
I just
Well,
came to see
Okay.
a friend, and his son did it for me.
Oh, very
Ah.
good. Well, we're going to keep our
we can really scare the hell out of Nabil and say, well, we've been watching you for the last day or so. No, you can't.
Look, it was a great talking to you.
It was nice talking to you too, and have fun with Blab. I'm afraid. Thank you for joining us for the few minutes. Thank you, sir. You have a great day.
There you go.
Welcome to
We could have
Blab.
done
That's
a
good
focus group on web usability for travel right there, Lauren. You blew it. Yeah.
stuff.
Do you guys think he was in a hotel or an Airbnb?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. So I'll put one
dialogue before we got a clean answer. I think.
Let me just. I think the other topics are more interesting, but on the Airbnb side, just to weigh in on that because it's such a hot topic, especially because of the loss of the referendum in San Francisco and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a powerful platform, but what's going to make it even more powerful was their announcement this week of experiences. So now all of a sudden the whole activities and tours, space, they've got 350,000 hosts around the world who now some of them may just be completely not qualified to do anything, but a lot of them know people who have inside access to whatever and really cool local experiences. That's going to make Airbnb even more relevant to people, not just for travelers, but just for things going on in the city, right? So it's like, hey, such and such, my friend's opening a club or was with a band or they're just doing you want to come along? And all of a sudden, and I keep saying this over and over, Airbnb is not really about renting lodging units. It is about this host to guest connection. It's a whole different, it's just like Uber. Uber has nothing to do with the taxi business. It is a logistics company. It's about moving stuff from point A to point B. And so that's the end game for these guys. But for the hotels being on the platform, I think some will. But the hotels, I don't think will do well on the platform because unless they can start establishing that personalized relationship where they're really engaging with that guest as an individual and providing them with really unique experiences, then maybe it works. But if they can't do that, they're playing in foreign territory where they just are out of their depth.
Like brand on social. It's kind of an
We actually talked about that a little bit last week where Carrie was talking about, how she's about to go on her honeymoon and they booked an Airbnb in Hawaii. And you can go book any run-of-the-mill, all expenses paid resort.
Right.
Everything's inclusive. Great. But that's all you get. Like at the end of the day, you get a resort. Yeah, you get drinks. That's awesome. You get the exact same cookie cutter experience that everyone there has ever gotten. But with Airbnb, you're selling an experience. You're displaying an experience that people can purchase, that people can experience. And that's something that hotels can't compete with on Airbnb because at the end of the day, if they can't sell an experience, it's just another listing.
Right. And the all-inclusive.
I asked Laura to join us because she's an advocate of what you're saying. So I said, come on and join because you're all happy with what Robert's talking about. So she's joining.
Actually, the all-inclusives are a great example because I used to work for Mark Travel and we'd send hundreds of thousands of people to Mexico and these all-inclusives all over Caribbean. Every year. But the key is not really that all-inclusive resort because technically what happens is that doesn't really even help Mexico that much. Most of that money gets funneled back to Spain where most of the Spanish hoteliers are running these all-inclusives. But if you work with the local destination management company, especially if you work with Apple Vacations or FunJet or one of these guys, those local DMCs, they can set up really, really cool experiences because they're the local experts. They know everything that's going on. Or you go to Cabo, and you talk to Juan Carlos Del Rio. I mean, Juan Carlos knows everybody in town. He can do the coolest things for you, and it's fantastic. So they can do it, but again, it's just they aren't really that well set up, for it. Some of the tour operators are, but again, a lot of people, they meet the guy at the hotel who's saying, "Hi, I can handle any tours, anything you want to do," and they're like, "Oh my God, they're going to sell me a timeshare or try to sell me something I don't want." No, you use it right. It's like a concierge. They can go make amazing things happen. So.
Laura, what do you think?
So I think it's interesting. I personally am a big fan of Airbnb, but I think that definitely in the hospitality industry, people get a little scared by Airbnb because they've become so popular so quickly, it seems. But I don't know. I just think that Airbnb and hotels are targeting different consumers, if that makes sense. Like I don't necessarily think they're competing with each other as much as some people might like to think. Like, as someone that uses Airbnb often, that's not to say I'll never use a hotel, but if I want to stay in a hotel, it's because I'm looking for one thing. If I want to stay in Airbnb, it's because I'm looking for, another. If I want something unique, Airbnb. If I'm want to be close to a conference that's at the hotel, if I'm looking for consistency, if I'm looking for luxury, if I'm looking for bed and breakfast and drinks being served to me poolside, then I'm going to choose a hotel or resort. I just think that people maybe shouldn't get so scared that Airbnb is cutting into hotel business, because I don't really think it is. I think it's two different products for two different consumer groups, if that makes sense.
I would say now that's true, but it's changing. And the CMO of Airbnb has gone on the record next year, major focus on business travel. Because right now about 10% of their business, I believe, is business travel, and I think they want to take that up to about 20. And the challenge for hotels is, and the other one is vacation rental too. They're going to go big into that area. The challenge for hotels, and you see this in New York City, is the hotels can't deal with the dynamic nature of the inventory, right? And the pricing to a certain extent, but that's really secondary. What happens is it's a peak period. Normally hotels are like, this is great. I mean, what the New York hotel shows this week, or was it last week? I think it was earlier this week, right? Or going on now. That's normally a peak period. Well, those peaks aren't as high because all of a sudden you've got X thousands of rooms of inventory, and because these hosts know, hey, I can make good money this week. That's great. I'm going to go, sleep at the neighbor's house or whatever, rent the place out, and boom. And that's huge. And the Hotel Association of New York and HVS, who I have a lot of respect for in terms of feasibility studies and things like that, did the worst analysis I have ever read on Airbnb. It was like a burn it with fire, stilted numbers deal, which was insane. And they basically came through and said, Airbnb has taken $2.1 billion away from the hotel industry, assuming that everybody who stayed in an Airbnb would have stayed in a hotel, which is completely not
that's not
the case.
True. Yeah,
and every one of those rooms could have been built as a hotel, sort of thing. And you're like, so construction costs, construction employment, just ridiculous. Now, legitimately, maybe 400 million. Yeah, that's probably a reasonable number, which is a big number. But the hotel industry is taking completely the wrong way on this. And that's also why they lost in San Francisco.
Yeah.
What
I'm saying though is that there will always be that customer that just doesn't want to stay at an Airbnb. A couple of weeks ago, I went to Kansas City. My fiance and I went to Kansas City, and my parents also went for a wedding that we went to. My cousin got married, and my fiance and I stayed in an Airbnb, and we were telling my dad and my mom, oh, you guys should, try it out. Like it's a cool experience. And they were like, no, like we want consistency. We want to know what to expect. We want to have breakfast free. And
Whoa.
Laura, no.
We lost Laura.
Uh-oh, the hotel industry has gotten to her.
Oh my God.
No,
Hey,
but what I was going to
No,
say,
wait, I still see her. She's to my left.
I still see she's still alive.
the San Francisco situation, though, the way that and this is where the hotel industry is making a huge mistake. They're coming in with these bad numbers that Airbnb can easily defend, right? Because they have experts. I mean, the guy who's in charge of basically their governmental relations is a former Clinton White House guy, right? I mean, this guy's connected, knows how all this stuff works. So they can bat all those numbers around. They killed it because the number one funding source for that against Proposition or for Proposition F was the hotel union, and they came in and said, "Oh, it's the hotel industry trying to kill, poor little Airbnb and individuals," and that's completely the wrong way. They need to be fighting it on a fair housing basis and do that, and then that winds up successfully, defending what should be going on. So,
yep. Just to recap, we're talking about Airbnb, and we're talking about the fact that it's been predicted by some, Del Ross being one of the ones that made the most recent article, that Airbnb will begin to host hotel inventory in the next 18 months or less. And the contention of our conversation is that Laura feels that there's a distinction difference between the type of inventory that is being sought after on Airbnb versus hotels. One thing we don't do, which I think we probably should when we do these labs, is identify our particular expertise on this. And for that, I would have to say with Laura, what may not be known by most people is that she is our content developer, both in English and in Spanish. And she does it internationally as well. So she's very familiar with creating content associated with a hotel for destination purposes in 2 languages. So she has a sense of success when it comes to what people are pursuing on the websites, because she's literally writing the content that people are using to find those websites. And Robert, I'll leave it to you to tell you why you're such an expert at what you do.
I just talk a lot. No, I do a lot of strategic work. Yeah, I do a lot of strategic work for a number of groups, and I work with a lot of folks, with equity analysts on Wall Street and things like that, in terms of what are kind of major trends and where are things going, and what's really creating value and what's disruptive in the industry. So, I have a really weird I work with groups on developing loyalty programs. I've brought packaging in-house for major hotel groups. I have a really weird practice. But Airbnb happens to be one of the areas that people are asking me all the time, kind of from a strategic perspective. So I try to get underneath the numbers and figure out what's going on. But it is a different guest, but it's now because it's becoming more mainstream. And the other number that came out of the New York analysis from HVS was the average ADR for a hotel in New York was $276 or something like that. ADR for an Airbnb full unit rental, not shared room or and owner not present stuff, $176. So that's $100 less per night, 38% discount. That's a compelling value proposition for people who, might not stay in a hotel because they can't afford it, but also.
Sure. Did you go down?
I think we lost Robert there for visual all of a sudden, too. We have some loud background noise that popped in.
I just lost Laura in visual.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Robert's coming back. And for everyone else, Tucker, what we were doing is we haven't done this in the previous blabs before, is talk a little bit about why we're part of the conversation. I kind of jumped over Laura by telling her what she was so good at, but for you, you're like Mr. Social Ninja Man and Mr. SEO Master. So for hospitality, especially, I know
will expect me to do things.
Oh yes, very much so. Okay, good, Robert, you're back. Thank you.
Did you want me to introduce myself? Is that a thing?
Well, yeah, just say a little bit why you're here, and then I'll give it back to Laura to do the same thing, because I think we didn't get the chance to. People see us talking, but they don't know why we're here talking about it, and of course, whatever. But anyway, go ahead.
So I am Tucker. I work at Standing Dog Interactive. I do social media and SEO. My client base is basically clients that do a little bit of social, a little bit of SEO, and kind of help interweave the two. And so I also specialize in the pursuit of good Mexican food and craft beer. So those are my specialties. So if you ever want information on social media, search engine optimization, great breweries, and great Mexican food recipes, see me.
And Laura, I'll let you
know that I said Mexican food.
Okay, yeah, if you want to know the real Mexican spots, you can ask me. But I'm sure Tucker knows a few too. So I'm one of the copywriters. I'm one of the copywriters here at
Taco Bell.
Like Lauren was saying, I do Spanish and English, probably 60% English, 40% Spanish. So a good mix there. And I just have one more point about Airbnb while I'm talking, before I forget. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that it's sort of like Airbnb is a sushi restaurant and hotels are like steakhouses. Are they competing with each other? Like, yeah, sure, in a way. But I think if I'm in the mood for sushi, like I'm not going to want steak no matter what. If I want steak and a glass of wine, like I'm not going to be in the mood for sushi. So I think that in that sense, maybe they're not competing as much as they say. But I do think, Robert, that you had a lot of valid points. It's definitely an interesting.
Airbnb doesn't kill the hotel industry by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, there's plenty of the global travel industry is just so huge. They both can easily coexist. The problem is that Airbnb really dramatically impacts the financial aspect of the hotel industry. And that's the problem, because it puts downward pressure on ADRs. It takes away some peak occupancy pricing opportunities as well as peak occupancy stays. And everybody knows the key for the hotel industry is, yes, you can get up to kind of the 60%, 70%, you're making good money. But what's happening now is, like, for people projecting what's the industry going to be doing in 2016, which is certainly a very hot topic amongst Wall Street analysts, equity analysts. I'm basically coming out and telling these guys, don't expect the same sort of growth rate that happened this year. Things are getting tempered down. There isn't going to be as much ADR growth as you've normally seen historically at this point in a recovery or a peak. You aren't going to see the same occupancy. It's just going to be weighed down a little bit, and that winds up being hundreds of millions of dollars to the industry. So on that side, but I think for individual hotels, you just have to be careful, because all of a sudden when people start seeing, hey, Focusrite conference is next week in Hollywood, Florida, right? So it's at the Diplomat. You can stay at a lot of different places, and already, you can go and stay at a 3.5-star Hotwire property. Maybe you have to drive or Uber in and back and forth from the place, but you can stay for $61 a night instead of $200 something. Now, is that for everybody? No, a lot of people want to stay right at the hotel, and they're right there, and they go upstairs, downstairs, really convenient. But there's that segment that used to stay at the hotel, which now doesn't, and it's that bleeding effect, I think, which is difficult. The other side is it's very difficult to compete against it because you don't have very good information on it, right? So all the revenue management systems and everything that's checking all the pricing, you just have no idea. You don't have addresses of these places. You don't know where they are. You don't really know how many there are. And there are groups like AirDNA and things like that who are analyzing it, but it's not good information to make those decisions.
Not reliable,
And that's tough. That makes it really hard to figure out your pricing and your forecasting, let alone what's going on with OTAs and everything else. But to Dell's comment, I think a lot of hotels will start listing on Airbnb. Quite frankly, I don't think Airbnb wants generic hotel rooms on the platform right now.
Yeah, I agree.
I would think it decreases their value proposition. If it's really cool boutique hotel rooms or specialized units, things like that, that's great if it adds. But if it's just like, here's a 300 square foot box and we've got 40 of them, that just doesn't do anything for them.
Well, we blew past our 30 minutes. We ended up hitting 2 of 8 potential topics. We're getting better.
I'm gonna add a link in the comment section over here. This is about something that DeAndre told me about, just real quick. It's a new app from Facebook, so I'm gonna post the link right there, and you guys can read up on that if you're interested.
Nice,
Okay.
Thank you. All right, well, guys, thank you so much. Laura, thanks for jumping in on with us as well. Tucker, we didn't get a chance to say thanks. You had to run off to another meeting. And Robert, as always, thank you for making the time for this.
And next week I will be at the Focusrite Con. I don't think I'll be able to tie in live, though. It'd be kind of interesting.
Why not? It's mobile. Actually, it started on mobile. We just use the desktops more often.
It is mobile, but I think the timing, I'm in the middle of moderating 2 panels.
I'll bring it up on stage with you. We won't mind. We won't interrupt. We'll be very quiet. We'll just listen.
That's right. Actually, a couple of them. One of them is WorldPay is doing a thing. Actually, they're workshops. But one's WorldPay on kind of the future of travel payments, which is pretty cool. And the other one is HP sponsoring a discussion on personalization.
Well, it's only, what, 4,000 to join to go to Focusrite? So, sharing some of their proprietary
actually,
content.
right now, it's 4,200.
Oh, see? So they wouldn't mind at all you doing a live broadcast on the page.
Record attendance. And actually, for anybody who's listening, you can stream the whole thing live. It's completely free to watch, not necessarily all the sessions, but certainly all the center stage sessions, everything like that. You can watch for free. People are paying $4,200 because on Wednesday night, when you wander down to the bar and you see Dara from Expedia having a drink with Darren from Priceline and Steve Hafner from Kayak, just all kind of hanging out talking. It's unbelievable. Next to equity analysts.
Do me a favor. Can you send us the link? We'll
Yeah,
share
that'd
it.
be great.
Send us the link so we can watch some of the live stream. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, and it is. It's a great. It's the people pay the money for the networking. That's
of course.
That's
Yeah, that's
absolutely the bottom line of it. And I think it was genius on Focusrite's part to say, "Hey, let people see the sessions," because the sessions are really, really good. I mean, there's one from a guy BlaBlaCar. Really, I'm not sure if people in the U.S. are really familiar with it. It's a French ride-sharing company. But they prohibit the driver, and I mean millions of people are using this in Europe, and they haven't really come to the U.S. yet. But they have a rule. It's very different from Uber and Lyft. The drivers cannot profit on the trip. So it's basically just I'm driving from Paris to Lyon, and here's somebody who can ride with me, and we'll split the cost.
Yeah.
So really cool model. So anyway,
Thank you.
See you guys
Talk
next
to you later.
week.
Bye bye.
Bye, guys.